The stars looked different when you were hunting. Admiral Kethvar stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the view screen show empty space ahead. But it wasn't really empty. His sensors had found something interesting near the third planet of this small solar system. The locals called it Earth, and they had just started traveling between stars. Perfect timing, he thought. The Zephyrian Dominion had been expanding across the galaxy for over 300 years. Every new species they met either joined them willingly or got forced to join. It was always the same pattern. First contact, demands for surrender, a small battle to show strength, and then another star system belonged to the Dominion. "Admiral, we're getting clearer readings on the human vessel," his tactical officer reported. The young Zephyrian's scales were bright blue with excitement. "It appears to be alone, sir. No escort ships detected." Kethvar's four eyes focused on the data streaming across his command console. 200 of the Dominion's finest warships surrounded him in perfect formation. Each ship carried enough firepower to destroy a small planet. Together they had conquered dozens of worlds and brought entire species to their knees. And ahead of them sat one small human ship. "What do we know about their capabilities?" Kethvar asked his intelligence officer. "Very limited, sir. Our scouts report that humans have only been traveling in space for about 50 of their years. Their technology appears basic. Simple fusion reactors, metal hull construction, and primitive weapon systems. This particular vessel seems to be an exploration ship, not military." Kethvar studied the human ship through his telescope viewer. It was smaller than his smallest escort vessel. The hull looked plain and simple, with no obvious weapons visible. The design reminded him of the early ships his own people had built when they first left their homeworld. "How many crew?" he asked. "Scans indicate approximately 30 life forms aboard, sir. Very small for a vessel of that size. Most species require much larger crews for space travel." This made Kethvar pause. Either humans were very efficient with their crew management, or their technology was more automated than it appeared. But his scouts had been watching human activity for months. Everything they had seen suggested a young species just learning to travel between stars. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the human vessel," his communications officer announced. "Put it through." The main view screen changed to show the interior of the human ship's bridge. A human male sat in what appeared to be the captain's chair. He had dark hair and calm eyes that seemed to study everything around him. Other humans moved quietly in the background, working at various stations. "This is Captain Jake Sullivan of the UES Liberty," the human said. His voice was steady and showed no fear. "We've detected your fleet approaching our system. State your intentions." Kethvar was impressed despite himself. Most species showed obvious signs of panic when they first saw a Dominion fleet. This human seemed almost bored. "I am Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian Dominion Grand Fleet. You will surrender your vessel immediately and prepare to be boarded. Your species will submit to Dominion authority or face the consequences." Captain Sullivan turned to speak quietly with a female human at a nearby station. She had short blonde hair and was studying what looked like navigation charts. Then he turned back to the screen. "I'm afraid that won't be possible, Admiral. This is our home system and you're not welcome here. I suggest you turn your ships around and leave immediately." Several of Kethvar's bridge crew made sounds of disbelief. A few even laughed. The human was clearly insane or didn't understand what he was facing. "Captain Sullivan," Kethvar said slowly, "you are facing 200 warships with a single explorer vessel. Your scanners must show you the size of our fleet. Do you really think you can fight us?" Sullivan glanced at another crew member, a human male with brown hair who seemed to be working on some kind of technical display. The engineer nodded slightly before Sullivan looked back at the screen. "Admiral, this is your only warning. Turn around and leave our system immediately." The connection ended. Kethvar stared at the blank screen for several seconds. Then he began to laugh. His bridge crew joined in, filling the command center with the sound of Zephyrian amusement. "Did he just threaten us?" his tactical officer asked between laughs. "I believe he did," Kethvar replied. "How refreshing. Most species beg for mercy by now." He looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. They were all experienced warriors who had fought in dozens of campaigns. They had seen species with advanced technology, powerful weapons, and strong military traditions. None of it had mattered in the end. "Sensors, give me everything you can on that ship," he ordered. "Yes, sir." Hull appears to be standard metal alloy construction. Power readings suggest basic fusion reactors, probably second or third generation design. Weapon systems are minimal. possibly for asteroid mining or debris clearing. Defensive systems appear to be simple deflector screens, not military grade. Crew complement? 32 life signs. All appear to be baseline human. No genetic modifications or cybernetic enhancements detected. Kethvar nodded. Everything confirmed what his scouts had reported. Humans were a young species with basic technology and no real military experience. This Captain Sullivan was either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. Communications send a message to our fleet. All ships are to power weapons and move into standard attack formation. Make sure every sensor in the system picks up our energy signatures. I want everyone to know the Dominion has arrived. Yes, sir. Shall I also broadcast our demands to the local planets? Of course. Let them all hear what happens when someone refuses to join the Dominion peacefully. As his fleet moved into position, Kethvar watched the human ship on his screen. It hadn't moved. It hadn't called for help. It just sat there in space like it was waiting for something. Strange behavior for a doomed ship, he thought. But young species often acted irrationally when faced with superior force. The humans would learn just like all the others had learned. The Dominion always won in the end. Commander Velthar studied the tactical display with growing confidence. As Admiral Kethvar's chief strategic advisor, he had analyzed hundreds of enemy vessels over his long career. The human ship called Liberty was one of the most primitive he had ever seen. Admiral, our detailed scans are complete, he reported. The human vessel is definitely not a military ship. Hull thickness suggests it's built for exploration, not combat. The metal composition is basic iron and aluminum alloys. Our light cruisers have stronger armor plating. Kethvar moved closer to examine the data. Around them, the bridge crew worked efficiently to coordinate the fleet's movement into attack formation. 200 ships spread out across space in a pattern that had terrified countless species. What about their power source? The Admiral asked. Standard fusion reactors, sir. Our estimates suggest they can generate maybe 10% of the power output of our smallest escort vessel. Definitely not enough to run serious defensive systems or heavy weapons. Velthar highlighted different sections of the human ship on the main display. Look at this, sir. Their hull shows clear construction seams where different sections were assembled. Our shipyards abandoned such crude techniques centuries ago. And see these external sensor arrays? They're completely exposed. One good hit would blind them entirely. The Admiral nodded approvingly. Crew size? 32 individuals, all baseline biological. No cybernetic enhancements, no genetic modifications for space travel. They're not even wearing environmental suits on their bridge. Shows they're not expecting a fight. Kethvar walked to the large viewing window that showed space ahead. The human ship was visible now as a small dot of reflected starlight. It looked even more pathetic in person than on the sensors. Sir, we're receiving reports from all fleet commanders, his communications officer announced. All ships report ready for combat. Weapons are powered and targeting solutions are locked. Good. Any response from the human colonies in this system? Negative, sir. We're detecting normal civilian communication traffic between their planets, but nothing that suggests military coordination. No emergency broadcast, no calls for help. This puzzled Velthar slightly. Most species immediately called for every available ship when faced with a Dominion fleet. But humans were still new to space travel. Maybe they didn't have any military ships to call. Admiral, shall we begin the demonstration? Velthar asked. A few warning shots should convince them to surrender. Not yet. I want them to see our full strength first. Order all ships to activate their targeting systems. Make sure the humans can detect every weapons lock. The bridge crew carried out the orders efficiently. Across the fleet, 200 warships lit up with the energy signatures of active weapons. Plasma cannons, particle beams, quantum torpedoes, and gravity weapons all came online simultaneously. The combined energy output could be detected from several star systems away. Velthar watched his sensors carefully. Sir, the human ship is not reacting. No increase in power output, no change in position, no attempt to flee. Maybe their sensors aren't good enough to detect our weapons activation. Possible, sir, but unlikely. Even basic sensors should pick up energy signatures this strong. Admiral Kethvar opened a communication channel to the human ship. Captain Sullivan appeared on screen again, looking exactly as calm as before. Behind him, the human crew continued working at their stations as if nothing had changed. Captain Sullivan, your sensors must show you that my entire fleet now has weapons trained on your vessel. You have one final chance to surrender before we demonstrate the power of the Dominion. Sullivan turned to speak with the blonde human female at the navigation station. Velthar could see her lips move but couldn't hear what she said. The human at the engineering station was also doing something with his controls, though his movements seemed relaxed rather than urgent. "Admiral Kethvar," Sullivan replied, "I appreciate your patience, but my answer remains the same. Leave our system now or face the consequences." The communication ended again. Velthar looked at his admiral with confusion. "Sir, they must be insane, or perhaps they don't understand what they're facing." "No species is that stupid," Kethvar replied. "They have to know they can't fight us. Maybe it's some kind of cultural thing. Honor before death, that sort of nonsense. Shall we proceed with the attack?" "Not yet. I want to broadcast this across the system. Let every human world see what happens when someone defies the Dominion. Communications. Open a channel to all human colonies." "Channel open, sir." "Citizens of the human colonies," Kethvar announced. "You are witnessing the arrival of the Zephyrian Dominion. Your species will now join our empire, as hundreds of others have before you. Watch as we demonstrate what happens to those who resist our generous offer of membership." He gestured to Velthar, who began broadcasting tactical data throughout the human system. Every human with a basic receiver could now see the massive Dominion fleet surrounding their single small ship. "Look at the size comparison," Velthar announced over the open channel. "The Liberty masses approximately 12,000 tons. Our smallest escort vessel masses 40,000 tons. Our flagship masses over 2 million tons. This is not a battle. This is an education." On his private tactical display, Velthar studied the Liberty more closely. Something about the ship bothered him, though he couldn't identify what. The design was definitely primitive, but there was something about the way it sat in space. Most ships this size showed some drift or minor course corrections from their maneuvering systems. The Liberty was perfectly still, as if it was anchored to space itself. "Commander, are you detecting any communications between the Liberty and the human colonies?" Admiral Kethvar asked. "Yes, sir, but it appears to be standard traffic. Status reports, crew updates, maintenance schedules. Nothing that suggests military coordination. No calls for reinforcements? None detected, sir. Either they don't have any military vessels to call or they're too frightened to respond." Kethvar nodded. That made sense. Humans had only been traveling in space for 50 years. They probably had a few exploration ships and some cargo vessels, but nothing that could challenge even a single Dominion warship. "Sir, we're detecting an increase in activity at the human ship," the sensor operator reported. "Their crew seems to be moving around more, but power levels remain constant." Velthar watched the Liberty carefully. The ship still looked harmless, but something felt wrong. In his experience, species facing certain death either panicked or tried to run. The humans were doing neither. "Admiral, perhaps we should—" Commander Velthar, prepare to fire warning shots. "Target the space directly in front of their vessel. Let's see if humans understand the concept of overwhelming force." "Yes, sir." As Velthar prepared the firing solution, he took one more look at the Liberty, still perfectly motionless, still showing no signs of fear or preparation for battle, still looking like exactly what it appeared to be, a primitive exploration vessel with no chance of survival. So why did he feel like they were missing something important? The waiting was over. Admiral Kethvar gave the signal and 50 of his warships opened fire at once. Plasma beams, particle cannons, and quantum torpedoes streaked across space toward the Liberty. The combined firepower was enough to destroy a small moon, all focused on one tiny human vessel. The explosion lit up the entire system. Energy readings went off the scale as multiple weapon types detonated simultaneously in the same location. The light was so bright that automatic filters kicked in on every viewing screen in the Dominion fleet. "Direct hits confirmed," Commander Velthar reported, his voice filled with satisfaction. "All weapons found their target. No ship could survive that amount of concentrated firepower." Admiral Kethvar nodded approvingly. It had been an impressive display, certainly enough to convince any remaining human forces that resistance was pointless. He was already composing the victory report he would send back to Dominion Command. "Sir, the energy bloom is clearing," the sensor operator announced. "We should have visual confirmation of the target's destruction momentarily." The main view screen flickered as filters adjusted to the decreasing light levels. Slowly, the area where the Liberty had been became visible again. The ship was still there, not damaged, not burning, not even showing scorch marks on its hull. The Liberty sat in exactly the same position as before, completely unharmed. The bridge fell silent. Every Zephyrian stared at the impossible sight on their screens. Commander Velthar ran the sensor readings 3 times before he trusted what he was seeing. "Admiral," he said quietly. "Sensors confirm the human vessel is intact. No damage detected. No change in power levels or position." "That's impossible," Admiral Kethvar replied, but his voice lacked conviction. He had seen the weapons fire hit their target. He had seen the explosion. But the evidence of his eyes was undeniable. "Sir, incoming transmission from the human vessel." Captain Sullivan appeared on screen again. Behind him, his crew was working with the same calm efficiency as before. Nothing about their behavior suggested they had just survived an attack that should have vaporized them. "Admiral Kethvar," Sullivan said, "you had your chance." The human captain turned to the blonde woman at the navigation station. "Amy, execute Protocol 7. Navigator Amy Foster nodded and began working at her controls. "All Ranger-class vessels, this is Liberty Actual. Execute Protocol 7. Repeat, execute Protocol 7. Admiral Kethvar felt a chill run through his scales. "Commander, scan for additional human vessels. Full spectrum, maximum range. Sir, sensors show no additional ships. The Liberty remains alone." But even as Velthar spoke, his instruments began detecting something impossible. Energy signatures were appearing throughout the space around the Dominion fleet, not moving into position from somewhere else, simply appearing as if they had been there all along but hidden. "Sir, I'm detecting multiple contacts. Large vessels, military configuration. They're everywhere." The main tactical display updated to show the true situation. What had appeared to be empty space around the Dominion fleet was actually filled with ships. Human ships. Dozens of them, each one significantly larger than the Liberty. "How is this possible?" Admiral Kethvar demanded. "Our sensors would have detected them." "Sir, they seem to have some kind of advanced stealth technology. Our sensors are still having difficulty getting solid readings. But preliminary scans suggest these vessels are considerably more advanced than the Liberty." One of the newly revealed human ships was massive, easily twice the size of Admiral Kethvar's flagship. As he watched, weapon ports opened along its hull, revealing armaments unlike anything in the Dominion database. "Admiral, we're receiving multiple targeting locks from the human vessels," his tactical officer reported, panic creeping into his voice. "Count is, sir, we're being targeted by over 40 ships." Commander Velthar was studying his readings with growing horror. "Sir, these aren't exploration vessels. Hull composition shows materials we don't recognize. Power output is... This can't be right. Individual human ships are showing power levels that exceed our entire battle group. Communications. Open a channel to all human vessels," Admiral Kethvar ordered. "Channel open." "Sir, human ships, this is Admiral Kethvar. There has clearly been a misunderstanding. We were not aware of your military capabilities. Perhaps we can discuss terms." The communication was cut off from the human side. Instead, Captain Sullivan's voice came through on all frequencies. "All human vessels commence firing. Show them what happens when someone threatens our home." What happened next changed everything the Dominion thought they knew about warfare. The human ships opened fire with weapons that defied explanation. Beams of energy that seemed to bend space itself struck Dominion vessels and simply erased sections of their hulls. Projectiles that passed through shields as if they weren't there, punched through armor plating like paper. Admiral Kethvar watched in horror as his flagship's shields, rated to withstand anything in the known galaxy, collapsed under the assault from a single human vessel. Emergency alarms filled the bridge as system after system failed. "Damage report," he shouted. "Sir, shield generators 1 through 4 are offline. Hull breaches on decks 7, 12, and 15. Main reactor is showing critical fluctuations." Around the fleet, the story was the same. Dominion warships that had conquered entire star systems were being torn apart by weapons they couldn't understand. Ships that had never known defeat were exploding or surrendering within minutes. Commander Velthar was frantically trying to understand what his sensors were telling him. "Sir, the human weapons appear to operate on principles we've never encountered. Some kind of quantum disruption technology that bypasses conventional defenses." "How many ships do they have?" "Current count is 43 combat vessels, sir. All showing capabilities far exceeding our own." Admiral Kethvar looked at the tactical display showing his fleet being systematically destroyed. Ships he had led to victory after victory were now desperate targets trying to escape weapons they couldn't fight. "Sir, the Liberty is hailing us again." Captain Sullivan appeared on screen. This time, the calm expression was gone, replaced by something much more dangerous. Admiral, you came to our home system with 200 warships and demanded our surrender. You threatened to destroy us if we didn't submit. Now you know why that was a mistake. Captain, please. This was a misunderstanding. We can negotiate. No, Sullivan interrupted. You don't get to negotiate after you've fired on us. But I'll give you the same chance you gave us. Surrender now and some of your crews might survive to return home with a message. The connection ended, leaving Admiral Cathvar staring at a view screen that showed his once mighty fleet being hunted through space by ships that appeared to be playing with them. In less than an hour, the Zephyrian Dominion Grand Fleet had gone from predators to prey. The battle was already over, though Admiral Cathvar didn't want to admit it. His flagship limped through space, main engines failing, and hull breached in 17 places. Around him, the remains of his once proud fleet scattered in all directions, trying desperately to escape the human ships that hunted them with terrifying efficiency. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the human vessel designated as UES Ranger, his communications officer reported. They're demanding we prepare to be boarded. Admiral Kethavar looked at Commander Velthar, who was staring at his tactical display with the expression of someone whose entire understanding of reality had just collapsed. Commander, status report. Sir, we have lost 163 vessels. 37 ships have surrendered. Only 12 vessels, including our own, are still attempting to flee. The numbers hit Kethvar like physical blows. In less than 2 hours, the humans had destroyed or captured 94% of his fleet. Ships that had taken years to build were gone. Crews that had served with honor for decades were dead or captured. How is this possible? He asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer. The boarding shuttle docked with his flagship despite his crew's attempts to prevent it. Kethvar had expected human soldiers to storm his bridge with weapons drawn. Instead, 3 humans walked calmly through his ship's corridors as if they owned the place. The first was a human male with graying hair and the bearing of someone accustomed to command. The second was a human female with dark skin and intelligent eyes that seemed to catalog everything she saw. The third was a younger human male carrying some kind of portable computer device. Admiral Kethvar, the older human, said politely, I'm Commander Paul Bennett, Chief Engineer of the Liberty. This is Lieutenant Amy Foster, our navigator, and Specialist Lisa Grant from our Communications Division. Kethvar stared at them. You're from the Liberty? The exploration vessel? Commander Bennett smiled, though it wasn't a pleasant expression. I think we need to clear up a few misconceptions, Admiral. The Liberty isn't an exploration vessel. She's what humans call a Q-ship, a warship disguised to look harmless. Why, that's impossible. Our scans showed primitive technology. Basic construction. Your scans showed exactly what we wanted them to show. Lieutenant Foster interrupted. Adaptive hull plating that mimics primitive materials. False energy signatures to hide our real power output. Holographic projections to make our weapons look like sensor arrays. Specialist Grant was working at her portable device, apparently monitoring something. Admiral, your people have been watching our expansion into space for months. Did you really think we didn't notice? The words hit Admiral Kethvar like ice water. You knew we were coming? We've known about the Dominion for over a year, Commander Bennett replied. We've been studying your tactics, your technology, your expansion patterns. Every trade route we established was positioned to give us strategic advantage. Every colony ship we sent out was actually a mobile weapons platform. Every exploration mission was gathering intelligence on potential threats. Commander Velthar, who had been listening in stunned silence, finally found his voice. But your technology readings, your ship construction, everything appeared primitive. Lieutenant Foster laughed, but there was no humor in it. Admiral, humans have been fighting wars for thousands of years before we ever left our home planet. We learned a long time ago that the best way to win a fight is to make your enemy think you're weaker than you really are. Your weapons, Velthar continued, they don't follow any known principles of physics. That's because you don't know all the principles yet, Specialist Grant said without looking up from her device. Humans didn't just develop space travel, Admiral. We developed an entirely new understanding of how the universe works. Quantum manipulation, dimensional folding, consciousness-directed energy weapons. Admiral Kethvar felt something close to despair. How long have you been planning this? Since the day we first detected your scouts near our outer colonies, Commander Bennett replied. The thing is, Admiral, humans don't just react to threats. We eliminate them. Completely. This was all a trap. The most elaborate trap in galactic history, Lieutenant Foster confirmed. We let you think we were weak. We let you think we were unprepared. We let you bring your entire Grand Fleet to our home system so we could deal with the Dominion threat once and for all. Specialist Grant finally looked up from her device. Admiral, my equipment is currently broadcasting this entire conversation to every major power in the galaxy. The Hegemony, the Trade Federation, the Crystal Collective, all of them are watching what happens when someone threatens humanity. The implications slowly sank in. This hadn't just been a battle. It had been a demonstration. A message sent to every species in the galaxy that humanity was not the weak newcomer they appeared to be. What do you want from us? Admiral Kethvar asked. Information, Commander Bennett replied. Complete tactical data on every Dominion fleet, base, and colony. Defense plans for your core worlds. Command structure and communication codes. And if I refuse? Lieutenant Foster gestured toward the view screen, which showed the wreckage of the Dominion fleet floating in space. Then you'll join your ships out there and we'll get the information from your successors. Admiral Kethvar looked around his damaged bridge at his surviving crew. These humans weren't just technologically superior. They had planned this encounter down to the smallest detail. They had turned his own arrogance against him and used it to destroy everything he had, worked his entire career to build. The Dominion Council will never accept this, he said, weakly. The Dominion Council is going to have bigger problems than accepting reality, Specialist Grant replied. Because this fleet you brought here? It wasn't just your Grand Fleet. According to our intelligence, it was 60% of your entire military force. The words hit Admiral Kethvar like a physical blow. She was right. The Grand Fleet represented the majority of the Dominion's military power, assembled specifically to intimidate this new human species into submission. Your empire is defenseless, Commander Bennett continued. Your remaining ships are scattered across dozens of star systems, trying to maintain control over colonies that are probably already in rebellion. And now every other major power knows exactly how weak you really are. Because we made sure they were watching, Lieutenant Foster added. Just like we made sure the Dominion scouts found us when we wanted them to. Just like we made sure your admiral here felt confident enough to bring his entire fleet to our home system. Admiral Kethvar realized with growing horror that humans hadn't just defeated his fleet. They had engineered the complete destruction of his empire with a plan that had taken over a year to execute. What happens now? He asked. Commander Bennett stood up, preparing to leave. Now, Admiral, you get to go home and explain to your people that they just made the worst mistake in Dominion history. They threatened a species that thinks centuries ahead and considers warfare an art form. And Admiral, Specialist Grant called as they reached the door, make sure you tell them that this was us being merciful. Next time we won't bother with warnings. 6 months later, Admiral Kethvar stood before the emergency session of the Galactic Council, trying to explain how the most powerful military force in known space had been completely destroyed by a species that most members had never heard of. The Great Council chamber buzzed with translation devices working in dozens of languages. Representatives from over 200 species had gathered on the neutral station orbiting the ancient world of Nexus Prime. This was only the third emergency session in galactic history. Let me understand this correctly, said Counselor Zafon of the Crystal Collective, her crystalline form pulsing with disbelief. Your entire Grand Fleet was destroyed by humans using a single vessel as bait. That is correct, Admiral Kethvar replied, his voice barely above a whisper. The shame of his defeat had aged him considerably over the past months. And these humans had been preparing this trap for over a year. Yes, they allowed our scouts to observe them. They wanted us to believe they were primitive and defenseless. Counselor Thex of the Hegemony leaned forward, his multiple arms gesturing impatiently. How many human worlds are there? What is the size of their military? Admiral Kethvar hesitated. We don't know. The chamber erupted in shocked conversations. Representatives spoke rapidly to their aides while others activated private communication devices to contact their home governments. You don't know? Counselor Zafon asked. After months of captivity, you learn nothing about their capabilities. They told us only what they wanted us to know, Admiral Kethvar replied. But based on what I observed, they have military installations throughout this entire spiral arm. Ships that dwarf anything in our databases. Weapons technology that operates on principles we don't understand. The Trade Federation representative, a being that looked like a large insect, clicked its mandibles nervously. What happened to the Dominion after your defeat? This was the question Admiral Kethvar had been dreading. The Empire collapsed within 3 months. Once news of the fleet's destruction spread, rebellions broke out on every major colony world. Our remaining forces were too scattered and too few to maintain control. And the humans did nothing to help maintain stability? Asked Counselor Thex. On the contrary, Admiral Kethvar replied bitterly. They provided military support to the rebel movements. Advanced weapons, tactical advisors, intelligence data. They helped coordinate the rebellion across dozens of systems simultaneously. The chamber fell silent. Every representative was now calculating how this news affected their own territories and expansion plans. Admiral, said a new voice from the back of the chamber. The speaker was Captain Jake Sullivan, wearing a simple human military uniform and looking completely out of place among the exotic alien delegates. Admiral Kethvar's scales went pale at the sight of the human who had destroyed his life. Captain Sullivan, Admiral, I hope you don't mind the interruption, but there seems to be some confusion about human intentions. Counselor Zephon activated her translation system. Captain Sullivan, I assume. The Galactic Council was not aware that humans had been invited to these proceedings. We weren't invited, Sullivan replied calmly. We came anyway. Since everyone is talking about us, we thought we should be part of the conversation. Several alien security officers moved toward the human, but Sullivan raised a hand peacefully. Please don't, you really don't want to find out what happens if you try to remove me from this chamber. The security officers stopped, uncertain. None of them had weapons that had been tested against human technology. How did you even get onto this station? Demanded Counselor Thex. Nexus Prime has the most advanced security in the galaxy. Sullivan smiled the same cold smile Admiral Kethvar remembered from their first encounter. Counselor, if we can hide 43 warships in open space, do you really think a space station presents much of a challenge? Navigator Amy Foster and Communications Officer Lisa Grant entered the chamber, taking positions near the exits. Admiral Kethvar noticed that several other humans were now visible throughout the chamber, having apparently been present all along. The point is, Sullivan continued, there seems to be some misunderstanding about what humans want. So let me be very clear. He walked to the center of the chamber, ignoring the nervous movements of delegates around him. Humans don't want to conquer anyone. We don't want to build an empire. We don't want to collect tribute or demand submission. Then what do you want? Asked Counselor Zephon. We want to be left alone, Sullivan replied. We want to expand into uninhabited systems, establish colonies, and develop our civilization without interference. The Dominion threatened that, so we eliminated the threat. By destroying an entire empire? Counselor Thex asked. By removing a threat to human security, Sullivan corrected. The Dominion was expanding toward human space. Their leadership believed in conquest through force. They would never have coexisted peacefully with us. Admiral Kethvar found his voice. So you destroyed us to send a message? Exactly, Sullivan confirmed. And the message is simple. Leave humanity alone and we'll leave you alone. Threaten us and we'll end you. The chamber was completely silent now. Every delegate was staring at the small group of humans who had walked casually into the most secure facility in known space. Captain, said Counselor Zephon carefully, what assurance do we have that humans won't use this superior technology for aggressive expansion? Sullivan turned to Navigator Foster, who stepped forward with a portable display device. This shows the current disposition of human military forces, Foster announced. We have defensive installations at every human colony, mobile fleets patrolling our territory, and strategic reserves positioned throughout human space. She activated the display, showing a three-dimensional map of local space. Human territory was clearly marked along with the positions of their military forces. As you can see, Foster continued, all human forces are positioned defensively. We're not expanding toward anyone's territory. We're not building forward bases or establishing military outposts in neutral space. However, Communications Officer Grant added, We are monitoring all military movements within 50 light-years of human space. Any fleet larger than a standard patrol force that approaches our territory will be considered a potential threat. The implications were clear. Humanity was establishing themselves as a regional power that would defend their territory absolutely, but had no interest in conquest. "What about trade relationships?" asked the Trade Federation representative. "Commerce between species." "Humans are always interested in peaceful trade," Sullivan replied. "We have goods and technologies that other species might find valuable, but trade will be conducted at established border stations, not in human core systems." Counselor Thex leaned back in his seat, his multiple arms folded. "So humans intend to become a hermit species? Isolated and defensive?" "We intend to become whatever we need to become to ensure our survival and prosperity," Sullivan replied. "If that means isolation, fine. If that means military action, we're prepared for that too." He looked around the chamber at the assembled delegates. "The galaxy has operated under certain assumptions for thousands of years. Bigger empires conquer smaller ones. Advanced species dominate primitive ones. Military strength determines political power. Humans are introducing a new concept: leave us alone and we'll leave you alone. Try to conquer us and we'll demonstrate why that was a mistake. The choice is yours." Sullivan turned toward the exit, followed by his team. "Admiral Kethvar, thank you for explaining the situation to the Council. Your cooperation has been noted." As the humans left the chamber, Admiral Kethvar realized that everything had changed. The galaxy now had to deal with a species that was potentially more powerful than anyone, but wanted nothing more than to be left alone. The question was whether the galaxy's other empires were smart enough to respect that choice, or whether they would make the same mistake the Dominion had made. Looking at the nervous faces around the chamber, Admiral Kethvar suspected that some of them were already making plans they would later regret. Humans had introduced a new rule to galactic politics. Some species were simply too dangerous to threaten, no matter how peaceful they appeared.